The purpose of this video is to help you guys understand what you should be doing during your review period for transitioning off of your COVID forbearance plan. If you are a subscriber to my page, welcome back. Good to see you. If not, make sure you subscribe, like my videos, and always feel free to let me know if you have a comment or a question on anything I'm posting. I do try to give as much help as I can and get back to you guys as soon as possible. So if you are a homeowner who was on one of these COVID forbearance plans and you are now ready to transition off of it, and you have one of these investors that has a lot of protections out there, right? The big five government investors are Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, and the USDA. If you have questions about what all the different programs are and what you can kind of expect, figure out who your investor is and then watch one of my videos that's related to that investor. But this video is to address a specific time period where you have made the verbal request to your bank, you've told them what option works best for you, and they have opened review. So even though these processes to transition off of the COVID forbearance plans are supposed to be streamlined in nature, they're not quick. So while you might not have to submit a full document package, which is kind of what streamlined means, the banks still want to send your request to the underwriting department, and many lenders are still putting homeowners through this 30-day review process where they figure out how to approve you for the option that you want. So for example, if you know that you want to go through the partial claim process where you just want the amount that you missed during your forbearance to be put on the end of your loan, it doesn't just happen immediately on one phone call. Banks will take your information and then they'll say, great, your review has been opened. It will take about 30 days to actually give you the partial claim documents and get everything current. So it's not going to be as fast and easy as just calling up and saying, give me a partial claim, and then the bank kind of like types and then you have your partial claim. So what I'm going to do is kind of tell you what you should be doing during this review period to make sure everything actually moves forward and to make sure nothing falls apart. The worst thing you can do for yourself is make the request, have the bank say, okay, great, no problem, it's in review, and then just kind of like sit back for 30 days and hope it goes well. So the first thing you should be doing is calling regularly. I would say at a minimum, call every 72 hours, get to your loss mitigation department. Those are the people that are actually handling the problems. And then you want to ask them, is my file in review? Are the underwriters looking at it? What is the most recent date a note was made on my file? Call regularly, check on it. They should be able to tell you, yes, your partial claim is still in review or your loan modification is still in review. They should be able to tell you your decision deadline. That should be a very important thing you have answered. Like, when can I expect a decision back? The rules say that it needs to be 30 days from the date the review is open and complete. So if you open your review on October 7th and the bank says, yes, it's been sent to underwriting on October 7th, your decision date should be November 7th, and the bank should be able to have that conversation with you. So call regularly, figure out when your decision date is. Open up all of the mail that is coming to your property. So during this time, you're going to get bombarded with a bunch of random mail. The banks are sending you some boilerplate letters that they have to send that may not have anything to do with your current review that's going on. That's common. It's really annoying that they do that. It would be much better if they send you personalized letters all the time telling you exactly what's going on with your review, but you can't expect to receive some boilerplate letters that maybe even don't make sense, right? Maybe you have a review open, but then you open up a letter and it says like, you have the ability to open a review, but you already opened your review. That does happen, and you'll always just want to call on those letters to clarify and make sure everything is okay. But the other thing that the bank is likely going to be mailing you is your decision. So if you get approved for a modification or approved for a deferment or approved for a partial claim, they will be mailing those things to you. So be a person who checks your mail regularly and opens up everything that you're receiving from your bank. When you make those phone calls to the banks, take the employee names and the employee ID numbers of everybody that gives you an update. And what you're doing here is you're building a record to make sure that in the event that you're provided incorrect information, you have a record of who you spoke to and when that was. That's really important. Most customer service representatives for banks have a number. Sometimes they have letters in them, but it's called an employee ID number. You want to take that and you want to write it down, just so that if the next time you call and you hear some crazy information that doesn't make sense to you, you can refer back to that employee, which will help the bank go into their notes, find who told you that, and kind of hopefully help you clarify what's going on. And then again, I always go through these, but these are the questions that I always want you guys to ask when you're checking on your files. What is the date that my file was worked most recently? So again, another way to say that is, what is the most recent date that somebody touched my file? Because you can't communicate directly with the underwriters who are working on your review option, you always want to be asking what's the most recent date they did something. And as long as they're periodically moving the file forward, you can feel okay that things are going forward. But if I would say if 14 days pass, if 12 to 14 days pass and they're just saying the most recent date was 10/7, 10/7, 10/7, 10/7, and it's not moving forward, that might be a time that you might want to consider an escalation procedure or talking to a supervisor. And I do have some videos on my page about kind of how to open an escalation. So those are the main things you should be doing during the 30-day review period. If the 30 days pass and you have not received a decision back yet, you'll want to get to a supervisor in the loss mitigation department and make sure you open an escalation. So if you're at that point where you feel like you should be receiving a decision back yet and you haven't, you'll want to make sure that you call your lender, watch my video on escalation procedures, but call your lender and then follow the procedures to open an escalation. Good luck.